After graduating cum laude from the University of Washington in 1939, he was chosen as one of 40 young Rockefeller Foundation interns in the federal government in Washington, D.C. He worked in various departments and ended up as a staff member in the executive office of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, where he wrote reports on the various new agencies of the New Deal. He started in the North Atlantic as a deck officer on a cargo ship dodging German submarines. When he was navigator of aircraft carrier USS Windham Bay, his ship was in the first bloody assault of that island. American journalist Ernie Pyle was at one time aboard the USS Windham Bay, and wrote about the importance of jeep carriers in naval battles. He then became a program analyst and foreign affairs specialist with the U.S. In this job, he worked with a little-known program of technical aid and exchange of scientific know-how with South America. He worked with a staff of 3 to get their idea of technical assistance to expand from South America to the rest of the world. 402, the program was passed by Congress to go worldwide, but no funding was provided. Truman and the President announced this bold new program of aid for the underdeveloped world that it was funded and went worldwide. In 1958, Walkinshaw was a representative of the United States Department of State on the Griffin mission that went to Southeast Asia to establish Point 4. The idea of using younger people for overseas technical work was suggested in his final report for the Griffin mission, and furthered by Lloyd Andrews, who became head of Point 4. Point 4 also laid the foundation for what would later become USAID, the U.S. He found that many of the colleagues he respected were being driven out of the State Department. Further, an idea he promoted in Point 4 of appropriate technology and small improvements decided upon by the people involved was often being replaced by Marshall Plan types of big industrial projects. Walkinshaw was deeply tied to the Northwest and wanted to get back to his roots in Seattle. He had earned his law degree from George Washington University while working full-time in the State Department, so he started his new law practice in Seattle and was a lone practitioner for 21 years before joining Riddle Williams' law firm. Gene and Walt at San Juan Retreat. Not long after moving back to Seattle, he met his future wife Jean Strong at a Quaker meeting. Jean was a graduate of Stanford University and had just returned from Hiroshima, where she worked to build houses of goodwill. Her father was an early civil engineer who built roads including the North Cascades Highway to Marble Mount and a portion of the road around the Olympic Peninsula. Jean became an award-winning documentary producer and produced for the History Channel, King TV, NBC affiliate in Seattle, and KCTS, the public television station in Seattle. In 1992 she was inducted into the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Silver Circle for 25 years of significant contribution to the television industry and community. Walkinshaw. As a lawyer, Walkinshaw drafted many state laws that established the direction of healthcare, including Patient Bill of Rights, Right to Die, and licensure of healthcare professionals. He was also the attorney for the architects who designed SeaTac and the Washington State Convention Center. Walkinshaw is listed in Men of Achievement, 1973, and in several editions of Who's Who in the West. Walkinshaw serves as founding secretary for ACT Theater, and remained its secretary, attorney, and advisor for 35 years. He helped start the Seattle chapter of Amigos de las Americas, an organization that sends teenagers as volunteers to Latin America. He served on many others' boards including Northwest Kidney Centers, Municipal League, United Nations Association and City Club. As an avid fly fisherman, he crusaded to preserve and maintain habitat and recreational areas. As attorney for the owners of the Nisqually Delta wetlands near Olympia, Washington, he steered his clients to sell their land to the government, which resulted in the Nisqually National Wildlife Refuge on the Delta. He was an officer and director of the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition.